Anxiety often feels like something that comes from your thoughts, from stress, from pressure, from expectations, from childhood patterns, from daily overwhelm. And sometimes that's true. But what if part of your anxiety comes from something far quieter? Something happening on a biological level long before your thoughts even begin to form? In the last few years, researchers have started looking more closely at the role nutrients play in mental health. Not supplements, not magic fixes, but basic building blocks your brain needs to regulate emotion, stay stable, and recover from stress. One of those nutrients, choline, is now gaining significant attention. And the more you look into what choline does in the brain, the more the picture begins to make sense. So, in this video, we're going to explore a simple but important question. Could a nutrient deficit be fueling your anxiety? Not in a dramatic way. Not in a fix this and you'll never worry again way, but in a subtle, foundational way. The kind of influence that doesn't cause anxiety by itself, but makes your brain more vulnerable to it. Let's start with something many people don't know. Your brain requires an enormous amount of raw material just to function normally. Neurotransmitters are chemicals, brain cells are physical structures, and emotional regulation is not only psychological, it's chemical, biological, and metabolic. Choline is one of the nutrients your brain uses constantly. It forms part of the membrane of every brain cell. It is required to produce acetylcholine, a neurotransmitter deeply involved in attention, memory, mental clarity, and emotional balance. Without enough choline, the brain struggles to keep up with that workload. And because it cannot produce choline on its own in large amounts, it depends heavily on your diet. Here's where anxiety enters the picture. When your brain is under stress, whether emotional stress, rumination, constant alertness, or chronic worry, certain areas work overtime. The prefrontal cortex tries to regulate emotions. The amygdala becomes more reactive, and your system burns through resources faster. If your baseline nutrient intake is already low, the increased demand created by anxiety can push you into a subtle deficit. Not enough to make you physically ill, but enough to disrupt balance. And disruption at the neurochemical level rarely announces itself clearly. It doesn't feel like hunger or dizziness or fatigue. It feels like irritability, tension, inability to calm down, restlessness at night, overreaction to small stressors, persistent background fear that doesn't match your external circumstances. This is why people often say, "I'm doing everything right. I'm meditating. I'm sleeping okay. I'm exercising. I'm trying to think positively." So why do I still feel anxious? Because psychological tools work best when the biological foundation underneath them is stable. And for that foundation, nutrients matter. Let's walk through a few ways a choline deficit can quietly influence your emotional life. First, lower choline can reduce acetylcholine levels. Acetylcholine is essential for regulating your stress response. It helps slow down the nervous system, restore equilibrium, and transition you out of states of hypervigilance. If you don't have enough raw material, the system doesn't shut down easily. You stay activated longer. Worries echo. Tension lingers. Second, low choline can impair communication between brain regions. Emotional regulation is a network task. One area reacts, another controls, another evaluates. Choline helps maintain the membranes that neurons use to send signals. If those signals weaken, small emotions can feel bigger, and it becomes harder to correct course internally. Third, choline influences inflammation and cellular repair. Chronic stress already raises inflammation markers. A nutrient deficit slows your ability to recover from that stress. Over time, this can create a cycle. Stress depletes your resources, your low resources make it harder to regulate stress, and your anxiety intensifies. Now, this doesn't mean every anxious person has a choline deficiency. And it also doesn't mean that eating eggs or soy or fish will cure anxiety. Biology is not a switch, it's a spectrum. Most people with anxiety have a mix of psychological, environmental, and biological factors interacting together. But understanding this biological layer can help you interpret your experience more accurately. Let's look at some behaviors or patterns that might indicate a nutrient-related sensitivity. You feel anxious even when life is objectively calm. You experience emotional flooding. Small triggers create big reactions. You have trouble concentrating when anxious. Your anxiety is worse when you're tired or hungry. You feel tense even after successful relaxation techniques. Your mood shifts quickly, especially under cognitive load. You rely heavily on caffeine, sugar, or convenience food. Your diet excludes or limits nutrient-dense foods, especially animal products or legumes. These are not diagnostic signs, but they can reveal a nervous system running on a partially depleted foundation. So what can you do? Start with awareness. Instead of thinking of anxiety as purely psychological, consider the body's role. Ask yourself, is there a chance your diet isn't supporting your emotional regulation? Are you giving your brain the raw materials it needs? Second, make small nutritional adjustments. You don't need major changes, just intentionality. Choline is available in foods like egg yolks, soybeans, fish, poultry, dairy, beans, and certain vegetables. You're not trying to hack your brain, you're simply supporting it. Third, avoid supplementing blindly. Supplements can help in some situations, but they can also cause imbalance if misused. If you suspect deficiency, consider speaking with a professional or focusing on dietary improvements first. Fourth, integrate nutrition into your broader mental health approach. Good sleep, movement, routine, stress buffering behaviors, and therapy when needed. These all work better when your brain has the biochemical stability to benefit from them. And finally, approach yourself with realism. If anxiety persists, it doesn't mean you're failing. It may simply mean your system needs a more layered approach, psychological and biological. So, could a nutrient deficit be fueling your anxiety? Maybe, not dramatically, not as a magic answer, but as a contributing factor that is easier to overlook than you think. If any part of this resonates, consider exploring your nutrition with curiosity. And if you'd like more videos that connect psychology with biology in a grounded, non-sensational way, subscribe.